Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone's well. We had some news this morning, hence that big spike down. Now, I have taken a couple of trades, actually. The first one, in fact, the risk was a bit more than that, but I got out at the tops here because I knew the news was approaching. It was kind of like a penguin-style trade, this. We had a leg down. We had one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, and it pushed quite strongly below the EMA, so I jumped in about here. Now, it started going sideways and going up a bit, so rather than the 2.75 risk, I just got out for 2 points because it just went slow. The news was just pending, and then we had a sort of leg up, a break, and then we had a leg down and a leg down, and I took that lower high for 2.25 points. So I've had a couple of trades anyway, so I'm not sure what's happened here. There's a bit of slippage or something there, I don't know. One's lost it and one hasn't, so I don't quite know what's going on there. But anyway, that's it for the news today. So, I don't know. I had that drawn initially because it did look like we were... sometimes when we get these big sort of drops, we'll recover. Other times we'll come back so far and start to go down, and that's what I thought was going to happen. That's why I took that. We were sort of touching in a few places, and I thought this is going to start to sort of work down. But it didn't. It's more or less recovered. As I say, sometimes it does recover, sometimes it doesn't. So, it's 25 up, but I'm not quite sure what's going on here. There's a bit of slippage or something's going on there. I don't quite know anyway, but we'll see. So let's see how we got on today. But it does look like, I think, just a bit of a range day. There is a channel there, maybe an overshoot. Not sure about that. Let's leave it like that. Kev, how you doing? I got long on the higher low at 206. 206. Oh, that one there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that. I see that. Yeah, it worked nicely. It was hard to say because, as I say, I had that initially because it's funny how we sort of popped off and stopped there, and then that came up to there, and that came close enough, and we got 3 bars sort of sitting along a possible bottom line. So I thought leg up, we're making a few attempts to go higher, and then when I saw that, I took that. I was tempted to ride it down a bit further, but I get out because of the yeah. And that now we seem to push out, so I got rid of it. I don't know whether it is or not, whether it's just just a bit random or a bit of luck that it happens to be there. I don't know, because we haven't got anything like it on the NQ, so I decided to I wish I'd left that, to be fair, but it did look like a penguin style trade. We had that leg down, we had one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, and at the time it was looking quite bearish on the NQ, and I thought, let's just pick up a 1.5 or something down there, and then it started to come down and turned and went sideways, and it was approaching the news, so I just thought I'll get out. I think the risk was 2.75 points, but I got out. I had a feeling it was, I just had to get out. If the news happened, I could get stitched, so I just took the loss. But it is what it is. It happens, doesn't it? And then obviously I got that lower high, which I liked, and clearly worked out nice. That went down for about 6 points. Somewhere around about there. Yeah, near enough. So, market is open. So whether that's a slightly bigger channel, it could be actually, because I like the way that's respecting the middle line of that channel, so I kind of like that. So far we've sort of had a couple of legs down and a couple of legs up. So far it does look at yesterday's same pattern, really. Yeah, it's hard to say. Somebody mentioned about an uptrend earlier on, and I think there probably was actually somewhere on those. It's hard to say, really. It's hard to join the dots, really, but it seemed to sort of consistently work up throughout the day, obviously apart from 2 legs here. and then a sort of a rally up into where the market closed. But let's have a little look. That looks like a hidden second entry long. I don't like the way that's fanning around. Like, could be an overshoot that. The only reason I've left it like that is because I like the way it fits the midline. I like the way it works the midline. Then we had a couple of strong pushes and then it's working in that top tier there. So it's hard to say at the moment. Now, looking at the daily, we pushed up and touched there. So we're sort of up, down and up. Whether we continue up, I'd have probably said I'd have liked to have said another bounce. We got 1, 2, 3 triple test. So it's at the moment it's neutral because we're sort of going sideways, but it has been sort of up and down. So who knows? It could push up a bit more. It could come right down. It's a bit hard to judge at the moment, but it's just more or less neutral. Enough of crawling trend days, hopefully. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? Sort of a leg and a leg. See if we can get a higher low here. Let's have a look. Rodian, how you doing, buddy? So, hey Kev, hey Rodian, hey Harminder, how you doing? So we've got a channel here. Excuse me. It fits even nicer. That fits a lot tighter in the NQ. So we got a channel break, new low, push up, see if we can get a higher low here. There's nothing there really. If you chucked one in there, it'd be a little bit of a gamble in my opinion. Although it sort of did do 2 points. There is a possibility. Excuse me, there's a bigger channel there. Possible. My slight issue is these areas here. So we've had a leg, we've had a couple of legs back. It was sort of a channel, a breaking channel, but it looks like two sort of odd looking legs. But there's nothing here. You just don't know what it's going to do here. So we'll see. So yeah, possibility of a bigger channel. It fits along that line there, and we got a touch here and a touch here. I need to confirm it really, but maybe. Are you on Tradeovate, are you? I've never tried Tradeovate. Had another update from Replicanto. That's about 4 updates in the last week. I've got to say, that problem I had with that one account, the evaluation happened directly after an update. So I'm just wondering whether they found a problem because we've had 2 more updates since. My chart occasionally looks off compared to yours. I have reloaded my historic. Has anybody else found it's different, or is it pretty much the same? Let's see if we can get a high here, low here. Technically a second entry long, but I think I prefer the higher low in all fairness. It is working along that line, so that's good, but it's just too risky doing something like that at the moment. I'd like to see something like that trigger. I wonder whether there is a different channel there, whether we're going to have a second leg back here. I wonder whether there's something like that. Maybe a spike in channel. In which case we could come down to here. It's hard to say at the moment. I'm not a fan of these. Oh, it's not too shallow. But there is a failure there. Try go once, try go twice, triggered. Well, his price is being held by the EMA, so excuse me, let's see if this does come down leg. Yeah, it's just too congested, that, isn't it? We've got a touch and a couple of touches there, but I'd like a leg down and a leg down here first, and then a bounce. So what I will say is we got a little range, so if we drop out the bottom of it, we end up bullish on that line, leg, confirm this line. That might be an option to go long, we'll have to see. Leg. There we go. I'll be a zombie in the office. Yeah, you take it easy, mate. Yeah, you take it easy, bud. I'll see you tomorrow. I keep forgetting you're the other side of the world, aren't you? Okay, I wonder. I'm not convinced about that. We're going to break new high. Maybe we're coming down. It's definitely going sideways. Incidentally, it's the last of the 1 day past today. Goes back up to the normal 7 days. So I can't make up whether I like it or not. I like the fact that, there's no minimum. So if you pass it in 3 or 4 days, I just don't know whether it's going to encourage people to sort of gamble more or not. I suppose if you removed minimum time, then people may sort of do it in their own way. It's hard to say, really. I don't know whether more people are going to just try and take risks. but it's there if you want anyway, with 71% off, half price on resets. So. One day pass is not a good method, only gives Apex more fees. Yeah. I didn't like it at first, then someone explained it differently. He said, well, it doesn't mean you have to do it in one day. The trouble is, people who are really struggling are probably going to try and do it in one day, and going back, a while ago, I'd have done it myself, and you're going to chuck more money away, I think. Some people say, well, they like to pass it. I sort of... I don't know whether they should sort of take it away completely and say there's no minimum or maximum time. You've just got to hit targets or not. I don't know. But I think, I don't know. I thought last week it might encourage people to gamble, and who was it? What's his name? Explained it a bit different. He said, well, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do that. It's just some people pass it in 3 or 4 days. They're just doing a micro, so it's a sort of counterproductive in a way. So I don't know. What I will say is, because it's 71% off and not 80 or 90, I think people are obviously going to think about what it's going to cost them. If they did the 1 day plus 90% off, I think people are just going to throw money at it. I assume will fail too. Yeah. I mean, it was useful for me. I'd done 3 days. I'd passed it in 3 days. I hadn't gone silly. I just happened to have some good trades. I was trading 4 contracts, and I just had some good trades, actually. And I passed it in, I think it was 4 days I passed it, and I had 3 more days to do, and they just happened to do it the night before. So it worked out all right for me, but it was any new or existing. So... I mean, it's good for people who can manage their emotions a bit, but not good for people who can't. So, yeah. I think they'll abolish it altogether. I know a lot of other companies are saying now some companies are saying no minimum time. I think, who's the other one? They do 5 days. I don't know. I mean, I got to say, in all fairness, without the prop firms, there's no way we'll be able to earn money unless you've got 50 grand laying around that you could put into an account to trade. Trouble is, you need money to make money, so, they are of use to us, absolutely. I wouldn't be able to trade. I mean, technically, it's not $50,000, but what it is a $2,000 account. So I'm trading, or I'm trading $2,500 accounts here. And they've cost me $140 each. So they're definitely useful. There's no argument there. But yeah, some of these firms, you don't know, do you? There was one not so long ago who actually went bump. I mean, it would concern me if I was trading 20 accounts and I had, I don't know, $5,000 or $10,000 in each account. See, my plan is to try and build up to around about 7,500 each account. Now, if I can get 7,500 account and you've got 20 accounts, that's $150,000. It's a lot of money to have sat in someone else's pocket. I know they say, well, they do okay. This company's that company's that. We got a good record. Well, that's all good and well, but 1, I don't know, and 2, you never know what's around the corner. So I don't know. I like the idea of having a 7,500 in there, but even on 2 accounts, it's still $15,000 of money you've earned sat in someone else's bank account, really. But hey, it's the way it is. I wouldn't be able to do it otherwise. I certainly haven't got the money, enough money to make a decent wage. I think really, if you're going to trade, you need about $50,000 at least, really, don't you? 50,000, 5,500. If you're risking 1%, that's what, $500, isn't it? 2% $1,000. So I don't know, maybe $25,000. Not everyone's got that sort of money. And obviously you need money to make money, so There seems to be two channels there, so I'm just going to ditch that first one for now. There's a channel there. Let's have a look. We've got a touch. Yeah, I kind of like that. I think it's just maybe the drop before we try and retest and then drop further. So now, second entry short possibly. I've taken trades like this before when it's come very close to the bottom and it's carried on up. So I think that's close enough for some traders to say that's hit the bottom, especially if you draw that like that. I mean, you could say it's like that, a little drop out. It's caught it 1, 2, 3, 4 times there, once there. So I'd be inclined to say that is as good as hit the bottom. Now, if we're going to continue down into a channel, that's a different story. But I'd just be a little bit dubious about going short here to break the, to make a new extreme. Because it's just too close to there, really. I mean, you could have said that could have come down further, and it didn't. It came down and just reversed. And that didn't get as low as that, so you just don't know, do you? If someone's selling up here and they're going to take profits down here, are you going to wait till right to the very lows to take your profit, or are you going to be a little bit safe and take them just 4 or 5 ticks further up? That's what I would be doing. So it's hard to know what's going on here. So I think it's fair to say at the moment we're clearly ranging. We've been down 3 times. Whether you class this as 1, that as 2, that as 3 maybe. So it's as good as ranging, really, isn't it? If you look at it like that, it's clearly up and down, isn't it? With the exception of this, and then obviously that spike because of the news. But failing that, we're up. We're down, so I'm just treating this as a range day at the moment. I mean, you probably could drag that out, really, and it wouldn't look out of place. Yeah, often when we get a pop out the top, we get one at the bottom, and we have there, because there, and there are all higher, so that would make sense. Okay, let's see if we can trap some shorts here. I would say also, looking on the NQ, let's put that like that, touch. That looks like an overshoot to me, so I would probably expect that to push up. So that's on my mind, that there's a possible overshoot. And as we know, like yesterday, sometimes we'll get an overshoot. It'll still come back, push it higher, make a new high, and then drop. So there's a failure there. Failed second entry short. See if we can trap some shorts here. But, after we've had this news, you don't know whether it's going to come back and retest these and then start to work down. Because I'm still looking at that. The daily. I mean, if that does break this level here, it could come down, and that would coincide with what we're seeing here. Push up, a little bit of sideways push up. And we've touched that top a few times, so there's certainly a possibility for some more downward stuff. Let's have a look. Yeah, trouble is sometimes if no, don't get me wrong, I like it when when we have the 90% off, it makes it cheaper. The only trouble is I end up taking twice as much, so it doesn't work any better anyway. And not only that, I think it can install bad habits of taking risks. The trouble is, the cheaper you make something, it's just like putting money in a slot machine. It takes a second, and if I've never been to Vegas, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people have. And what do you do when you get there? Start sticking money in machines, and you're taking risks, aren't you? Why? Because it's pretty cheap. I mean, it can amount up, and I dare say there's machines that you can put a lot more than the likes of $1 or $5 in. But trouble is, you make something too cheap, it's a gamble, then, isn't it? You tend to gamble in it, and that's we all know trading is gambling. It's exactly what it is. It doesn't, however way you look at it, it's gambling. You're betting on an outcome where there's a risk of loss. You're either going to win money. That obviously the difference is between us and the likes of people who bet on horse races and football matches is with the markets, you can get an edge because obviously certain things in certain patterns don't really exist in horse races. It's just, it's a horse running around a track. If a horse is particularly good, then it's probably going to win more races. But, with trading, we're studying human behavior, and human behavior is quite predictable. So it is gambling, and it has that same sort of rush. And there lies the problem. While you're working and trying to get a strategy working and learning the markets, it's very easy, that sort of rush you get, it can be quite addictive. Personally, I don't like it. I don't like that feeling of the nerves and stuff, but I think it's irrelevant, really, because it can be quite addictive. But I've never really bet on anything. I have in the past, but not for, not... We used to bet on the Grand National every year. We used to put £5 and we used to pick about 3 horses, but I haven't bothered the last couple of years. Why? Because I'm not bothered to go out my way. It doesn't interest me. I've never... Hello? Excuse me. I've never bet on football matches, really. The last time I had a bet, I bet on was it Ruiz, the boxer, beat... excuse me a sec. What was it? What's his name? The British guy. I forget his name. Black British guy. It'll come to me. And I stuck a £5 on it, and I think he won. Yeah, he did win. I won about 60 quid, something, 70, 80 quid, something like that. But it was only just because it was stupid. Anthony Joshua, it was ridiculous odds. I think, was he something like... I forget what odds I got. I think I got about 25 to 1, something like that. It was ridiculous odds. And a mate of mine was having a bet on it, so I thought, go on, stick me a £5 on. And he won. So I'll have a bet on that just for a bit of fun. But the last time I bet on something was probably that. So I that rush, it's never really bothered me. It's never interested me. And to be honest with you, when I'm in a trade sometimes, when I've done any type of revenge trading, I hate that feeling. Absolutely hate it. It makes me feel physically sick. So I don't think I could be addicted to gambling if I tried. But a lot of people are, and it can be really serious in a lot of cases. Okay, so let's have a look here. So there's probably going to be people going short here. Now on the NQ, it looks almost like it's bottoming. It may come down. It probably will actually, but it does look like we're sort of bottoming, poised for another push up. But we've got further to go here. So there's a bloody fly on my screen. Get away. So it's sideways, touch, could go up, could come down there. So I don't want to jump into a maybe a lower high there, but I think I don't. Maybe I do. Let's have a look. It's looking bearish on the...
Order submitted.
I'm not a fan of this. I think it's probably going to go down. Yeah, my slight
Order cancelled.
My slight concern.
Order cancelled.
Is it was going to trigger that and push up. Just not a massive fan. It's a fair risk as well, I think. What's it? 3.5. Yeah, it's about 3.5 point risk. Okay, it did work. I just wasn't so sure about that. It did look like a bit of a channel. My concern was it was going to trap some shorts. Having said that, the EMA can come down quite a bit further, so perhaps it's going to. Maybe it's quite steep, that. So I'm not sure about that. Let's leave it there for now. Probably wasn't a bad trade, actually. My concern was we got a sort of a channel working up here. And we've got close to the bottom. So the trouble is, if you go short there, you haven't got much room to the lows. So if you go short there, you've got a 1.5 to those, well, 0.75 to those lows. Well, less than that, actually, if you... I didn't have that big a channel drawn at the time. Well... Do you know what? After that sort of slightly negative news, we sort of recovered, and perhaps we are now going to continue down for a bit. That could go a bit lower to there. So that one did work nice, actually. Trouble is, you just never know, do you? You don't know whether it's going to trigger you and push up. It was looking more just congested on the NQC, so... And there, in all fairness. Target failed second entry long, was target down, got hit, edge. You took a second entry long. You didn't take that one, did you? No, target failed. Oh, failed second entry long. That one, no. Where's it go? Fell second too long. See, it got 7.25 points, or you lost it. Looks like you lost it, didn't it? Is that right? Okay, so is that an overshoot? I'm not convinced because we could go with Chad, come on, Lance. You just have to take that trade. That one there. Yeah, my only concern is we're very close to those lows, and we've got this one down here, and this one a bit higher, and this one a bit higher. And it looks like it's ranging, so it's very close to those lows. And I've got in shorts before and it's triggered me and pushed up. So it's, you know, it's just one of them things. Excuse me a minute. Wow. Bitcoin's above $48,000. Wow. I'm talking about Max saying that, friend. I got you. Yeah, you know when you're just in an awe, you know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, it worked. It would obviously work, didn't it? But yeah, at the time you just never quite know, do you? But yeah, perhaps I need to just push the button. I probably tend to get more on the side of overcautious than careless, which is better. Let's have a look. Oh, you lost it. Oh, I see what you mean. You lost 7.25 points. No, you're up. Hold on a minute. Oh, right. Yeah, I got you. You're up. Yeah. I got you. Okay, so we've come down that measured move. I wonder whether we are going to get some downtrend now. See, I can't help keep my eyes off that. I mean, look at that. We've pushed up, we've bounced a couple of times, we've come off the top. I mean, excuse me, it doesn't get any more bearish than that. Trouble is, obviously, you know, as we get a bar, it can come down a little bit before it goes up. So even just a little move up, a third of the value of that could send us back to the top of here. So, but I mean, it's looking pretty bearish, isn't it? And I would say before the end of the day, I can certainly see it hitting this area here. Let's see, it depends how you look at that. See, we've had a break, one attempt to go. Yes. Oh, I would say, I would expect it. We had that yesterday, didn't we? I said I would expect it to get to the tops of there. So I would expect by the end of the day to get to here. Now, we're on the lows here at the moment, and we're right at the bottom of this channel. So as we pull up, there'll be a little pullback there. So I think we may get a downward trend. Now, we had that slightly negative news. I don't know how negative it was, but it caused a 22 bar spike down. And then we recovered eventually back to more or less where we were. And now we're working down. So we may. Yeah, if you see, at the time, you just never know that's going to happen, do you? And in all fairness, I think most people, if they took that, probably would have got 8 for 2 points at this lows, because you just never know it's going to do that. That's the frustrating thing about the market. It gives you an offer, and if you don't take it, it rubs your nose in it. I mean, if you'd have been in there right down to the bottom, look, that makes you sick, doesn't it? That makes you sick, even if you'd have got some of that. Bastard. I trade it sometimes, I do. So the daily's looking bearish, and obviously the 2000 tick chart's looking bearish. We've got a touch here and a touch here and a touch here. So I like that. That I'm not concerned about. I don't mind that not coming any further because obviously we've got these bottoms. So if it's going to bounce, that's probably what that's probably where. But obviously Market had other ideas. It could have gone at a couple of legs up, at a break and a new high and come back to these highs. Yeah, you just don't know, don't it? You just don't know. I did look at it. But after that little channel up, bounce close to the bottom and the little channel up, you just don't know. Well, it's one of those things, isn't it? I wish Mac could tell us what trades he takes. Well, not even that. I wish out of the trade. Mind you, I've got to say yesterday, I took nothing yesterday. And I think he only marked 3 high probability trades and maybe about 5 risky trades. So there clearly wasn't a lot around yesterday. It was choppy. It was a lot of sideways. So it was just dangerous yesterday. So I'm kind of glad I sat there and my patience sort of left me out of it. And I was quite pleased about that. I got no issues going home on zero. It's a good exercise in patience. But I wish Mac would say, when he's pointed out the trades, which of the trades he thought were the better option. Just, it's trying to get into the head of him sometimes, isn't it? There is a possible lower high here. I just can't take that at the moment. It may come down. It may not. It may be a push up, 2 legs down and another leg up. Who knows? It's just too risky for me, that. Guarantee if I got in it, it'd tick me and shoot up. Second I leave it alone, it just drops. But no, we've come off these bottoms and we've only had a couple of pushes up, but I'm just a bit nervous here. I'd expect that to get more over here. If I was on an evaluation, I'd take that. But I just don't like the way it's up, down, up, down, up, down. Yeah. I mean, I know what it's like sometimes. You come back, you think it can't go any lower, and you come back later, it's got another 20 points. But it's gone down very steep, very quick. That's quite a steep channel, that. I'd expect it to go sort of more. If it's going to continue down, I'd expect it to go at more of that sort of level. It's just quite steep. What did you take? I took the lower high, second entry short since EMA's holding. Yeah, it's just very close to these lows, which just makes me a bit nervous. When that measured move's played out and it's touching it and it's around it here, it's around it here, so you just don't know whether it's. I'm always a bit nervous about going short so low when we've had a. Why didn't you get that? Well, because it's sort of coming from the top, close to the bottom, and we've hit the bottom twice. So it's had such a steep push down in that channel and a break and a couple of legs down to a new low. But look what's happening here. This, for me, is going to push up. It's just come down very steep, so I'd expect a bit more of a pullback. It's a very steep channel. How far did it come down? So it's come down, so you'd have got out 2 points there, but look what's happening now. I just think that's not going to hold myself. I'd expect a leg and a leg at least come back up to this area before I think about going short. It's tested yesterday's lows, yeah. So we pushed down, we came down right to the very place. So for me, it needs a couple of legs back. Making it. Well, that's why I stayed out of that, because you don't know how far it's going to come before it makes another leg. It could do that, trigger it, and make another leg there. Instead, it came down, but it only came down 2.75 points. If you went a tick below there, so yeah, so you'd have got 2.5 points. But I just, I don't know. Playing around yesterday's open, yeah. Sometimes I get a feeling, and I either like it or I don't. And there's just something about it. I just get a feeling. Trust that gut. Yeah, absolutely. I got to say, most of the time, it saves me more than it doesn't. And you do the way I see it. I've been staring at these charts for 4 hours a day at least for the last 3 years. And when you get taken out and you get trapped and you get stopped out and you see all these you build up these pictures. I'm glued to this chart now. And when things go wrong, it's not a nice feeling. And to me, it rams that picture in your head. And what I would say is it's almost like a library of pictures in your head, either good pictures from good setups or bad pictures from bad setups. I'm not saying it was a bad setup. It came back to the EMA, but as it's come right down to the bottom here, and again, I'd expect it to get a couple of legs back. So there's just one of these pictures in my, it's like if you've been to a town once somewhere and you go back 5 years, and something just seems familiar, so I just get that feeling. Triple test on the NQ. Let's have a look. Yeah, possibly. So my suspicions were right. We were going to push up. We didn't come down to the lows, and it came down enough to make a couple of points, or 2.5 points, but no more. But now we've had a break, so it just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of when it's using most of the whole channel, and it only comes back to the midline. I just think it's going to break and then push up. So that gut feeling, it does help you. In all fairness. I don't know. Let's see what's going on the NQ. Yeah, we sort of got a bigger channel on the NQ as well, actually. Yeah, it fits more or less just as nice, that. Same sort of scenario, touch with the break. It's touching a couple of times here and there. In fact, I can go a bit tighter. So it's sort of a leg and leg, and it did make a measured move again, which is why I decided not to go short. And there wasn't really a lower high on the NQ, was there? So, yeah. Yeah, you just get a feeling after a while when you send pictures of you getting trapped, stuff goes wrong, something just didn't feel right. And luckily, I made a good decision. Yeah, I'd have got a couple of points, but for me, it just looked like it needed it had come far enough at the moment. Well, strange enough, I did go back to the, I went down, was it? I did go to the 1500 tick chart a few months back. And yeah, it was 1,000 and something. Yeah, it did give me a bit more detail, and although there's not a setup here, a little bit more detail might give you that as a lower high. Well, technically was, but not a good example. But you know what I mean. Sometimes a bit more detail gives you an entry. trouble is, you get so many different suggestions. Some people, I think it was Brant on About Trade in the 4,000 tick chart, and you mentioned in the 1,500, someone mentioned 1,000. So I believe price action works on all time frames. But what's the ultimate one? Oh, I don't know. Who knows? If you've traded it for a while and you get some success with it, it might work for you. It's so hard to say, isn't it? I suppose the thing about the 1,500 tick chart is it does drop the ATR. So maybe on a day where the ATR is floating around, maybe 3 points, maybe an option to drop your tick size. But I believe the price action works just the same. Yeah, I did for a while have that of the 2,000 and the 1,000. Get a lot less setups. So yeah. So what I can do, just out of curiosity, let's open another chart. Let's change that to the 1,500. I've got it here somewhere. Where is it? See if it looks any more interesting. Let's have a look. Let's just stick it above my head a minute so I can open it up a bit. Open up a bit. Oh, Interestingly, as it's come down and tried to make a new low, I wouldn't expect this to come down and make a new low. I've noticed that happens. Sometimes you'll get trapped going short and it won't go short. It'll continue on up. And it usually happens. If we've had a leg up here and then a pull down to about here and a leg, yes. But not when we've come almost down a tick or two away. It doesn't seem to do that, I've noticed. So that's interesting. Let's have a look. Obviously, you get a lot more volume on the 1,000 tick chart. ATR's down to 1.81 as opposed to 2.9 here. So the risks are a little bit less. Yeah, so what I will say is if you're looking for, say, if there's no lower high here, in fact, after that, there isn't a lower high on the 1,000 tick chart. Well, there is, but it's a bullish bar. So sometimes when we get a break and we get two legs down and we don't get a great bar or a higher low, sometimes we'll get one on a smaller chart. So it doesn't hurt to have one up, I suppose. If there's another chance of getting in on something. Yeah, that looks almost like a bottoming pattern to me. It's hard to say, really. Possible second entry long there. Yeah, I think that's risky going along there. Not because I don't think, because it's congested. And if you're going along, you're going right into the highs. Not say it's not going to push up, it might do. In fact, I'd probably say it's more likely to go up than down, because for me, don't even know whether this channel's valid, to be fair. If you say this is a touch, this is a touch. Yeah, I don't know. Not only that, really, you could say that's an overshoot anyway, so I don't know. It depends how you look at that. Personally, I would say this is more likely to go up and down. That looks like a bull flag to me. Leg, and then a push up. I'd like to see a break out the bottom. Yeah, there is a second entry long on the... What's this? On the NASDAQ. That's possibly setting up. Trouble is, depends whether you got this channel and you think it's coming down. Personally, for me, I think it's going up.
Order submitted.
There is a possible higher low there. Okay, I'm going to take that. That's gone without me. I had a feeling that was going to push up. That's a shame.
Order cancelled.
Never mind. John, how you doing, John? I don't like the one-day pass deal. Blue 250 accounts, so I'm trying to pass it in one. Yeah, I've done it myself, but I can usually pass it. I was in 3 to 5 days. Yeah, it's something you're going to do. We're all going to do it. I've tried it myself. I think if you're going to pass it in one day, it needs to happen organically and sort of naturally. You know, I think like most people, take a bit more of a risk. I was trading 4 contracts. And I don't mind taking a bit of a risk because you've not got the same stress factor trading and evaluation. And you've still got to lose about, 5 trades in a row, really, haven't you? Trading, 4 points. And if you're losing 4 or 5 trades in a row, you're probably not up to scratch anyway, are you? So, but yeah, I think if you're in that mind, and we all go through, trading for me is like a journey. You've got to sort of go right the way around the coast, if you like. Let's pick Europe. You've got to go all the way around the coast, see it all, until you become an experienced traveller. And it's sort of the same with trading. You've sort of got to go right the way to the ends of the earth you've got to get frustrated, you've got to get angry, it's like having a marriage breakdown. You go through all those different emotions, you get upset, you get angry, you get frustrated, you fight back, you get numb, and you go through all these, and then you come out the end of it feeling better. And I think that's how it works. There's no other option for me. It's anything where there's a lot of emotions, it just takes time to learn to be able to deal with them. So I like the fact this is coming back and retesting this. So yeah, so trading for me is just it's just, have a look. Trading for me, it is part of a journey that you've just got to go through. The one day pass breaks their own rules on trading without big risk. It does really. Well, someone said to me, well, no, you can do it, and I said, well, yeah, but you've got to get $3,000, and you've got a $2,500 drawdown, which means you've got to make 120% profit in one day. Well, you can't make 120% profit in one day without taking a gamble. You know what I mean? So that was my answer. Someone said, well, you can pass a day. Absolutely, yeah, but you've got to take a gamble. There's no way anybody earns 120% profit on account. Got 5 points on that break to the upside. Yeah, it went too quick without me. I liked what it was doing, but I think I dropped mine in here, but obviously it started moving and never stopped, did it? But yeah, you can't, pass one of those in a day trading sensibly. You just can't do it. You've got to take a risk and a big risk. And the trouble is, you take big risks, yeah, you get big rewards, but you get big losses as well. So it's more gambling, that is really. It's more of a 50-50, may even be less than that. You know what I mean? I don't know, maybe you see a trade like this and then put your maximum points and see if it runs. So, maybe the odds are slightly in your favour, but, But what I will say is, if you remember back, maybe 12 months ago, maybe just less, Apex put a video out and they said from now on, when you withdraw money from your account, there has to be a minimum of $2,600 left, as opposed to being able to take it when there is $2,600. And everyone had a big fuss, didn't they? There was a big kickoff. And then Apex said, we're doing it to try and help the trader. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that doesn't really make much sense from a business point of view. And then when you say something like, because in the end they said, okay, fine, we'll let you manage your own money. So I think they did that because obviously there was a big kickoff. So they sort of give you the impression in a way that they're trying to help the trader, and then they give you sort of 1 day to pass. Now, bear in mind, it doesn't mean you have to pass it in 1 day. They're just reducing it down to 1 day. But I don't think it helps the trader. I think it encourages more to take risks. That's just my personal opinion. At the end of the day, Apex are a business, and a business is there to make money. And I'll never knock a business for trying to make money. If I don't want their services, I don't take them. I don't blame them because they're trying to get me to trade. It's not their fault. They're doing what they should do. They said they will close your account, you trade your peer like that. Yeah, it can get you into bad habits, but at the end of the day, Apex are a business. You done, are you, bud? Yeah, you take it easy. Take it easy, Kev. They're out to make money, so it's life, isn't it? That's how business works. They provide a service. It's up to you whether you choose it or not. But in all fairness, Apex are about the best out there. I've had payments from Apex, so I've got no problem with them. That sometimes I don't agree with some of the things I do, but we're all entitled to our own opinion. But yeah, it's not the best sort of offer they've had out there. Put it that way. It does, sometimes it does shout gambling and risking a little bit. But I don't know. Apparently, it was popular, and a lot of people asked to have it back. So you sent me no, Kev. So yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? I still like Apex. If I didn't, I wouldn't use them. Okay. Are we coming down to break these lows? It's hard to say. Push up, break new high. I'm a bit on the fence here. I've got mixed feelings. Leg down, leg down. We've come down, then straight back up. So I don't know. It could do either or. I don't think there's a bigger channel there. In fact, I'm not even a fan of that channel, to be fair. It's just 2 legs up, so we'll ditch that. So it just might be 2 legs up, lower high. If we can get a lower high down here, then that may interest me, because what I like then is a channel down with the 2 attempts to go higher and then a failure. So I'm sat here shivering. It's flipping cold in this house, so I'm going to have to go and put the heat on in a minute. So 1 attempt to go higher. So yeah, I don't think there's a channel from there. Possibly, but I'm not a massive fan. I'd like to see a push down and a lower high. Excuse me just a sec while I put my heat in on. I'm flipping shaking here. Okay. Okay. It could be going up, but it might just be sucking in some longs. Let me have a look at the NQ. What's the NQ doing? It's maybe making a second attempt to go higher. Let's see if it drops. So push down 1, 2, 3 attempts to go higher, maybe. Let's see.
Order filled.
I like that. Triple test. Oh dear. Have I misjudged that one? I may have done. I think I have done. Let me try and get out for 0 here. Let's leave it. Oh, you bummer. I'm getting a bad feeling here. Let's just get
Order
out for
filled.
oh yeah, 225. It is a lower high as well, actually. Probably take that, couldn't I? Yeah.
Order filled.
Lower high. Lower high stroke failure. You'd expect that to work actually, out before the lows. Leg down, once it strong push through the EMA, you'd expect that to work. In fact, that's a better trade than that actually, in all fairness. Just a bit more of a risk though, that's the thing. I'm just going to put that there. No. Yeah, I'm just going to give it an extra tick. This is looking a bit scary. Oh, I think I've shit out here. Yeah, I have. There's quite a few stops there, so I've got into a bit of trouble here. Probably jumped in a bit too quick, actually. We'll see. I actually thought the lower high was better than that, to be fair. I really liked it. Yeah, it's going up, Alice. It's going to take that short out there for sure, I think. Yeah, I really like that. Trouble is, 1, 2, maybe that's the triple test. We'll see. I'm sort of a bit stuck now anyway, so. I put it to the tops of here. Sometimes I'll give it an extra tick, and I did there, and it saved me getting out, so... let's just get out for break even if it gives me it. I'll put that back to where it was, I think. It's a big risk, that. I'd rather just get out of this. I just want to put it above there. It is a bit more of a risk, but it is what it is. This does look like it's coming down, doesn't it? But I'm not going to push me luck. I'm just going to get out at the bottoms.
Target filled.
Thank God for that. Okay, so that extra tick sometimes saves your neck. So I'm out for break even, so I'm going to ditch that one. That was the first trade. That one, second one, I got out for break even. I saw that and jumped straight in. The trouble is, if you'd have where would you put your stop there? You would naturally put it above there, surely, wouldn't you? Yeah, you did the same, did you? I think that looked even better than that, to be fair. I expected that to come around because it looked like it looked like a triple test. Now, if you look back on some of Mac's older videos, he gives it way more than 1 point. Minimum, he gives, way more than 1 tick. A lot of the time, he gives it 2 ticks minimum. There's a lot of support there, so I think sometimes now watch it drop. Yeah, it probably will. In all fairness, though, normally my order would be one tick above there. I put that above there, and it saved me. So those extra couple of ticks, yeah, it's coming down now, isn't it? Those extra couple of ticks got me out of trouble. So, in all fairness, probably reason that came back up is it's congested, so I can consider myself a bit lucky there. Yeah, look, that's the problem. That's the problem with going short there. It came back up to the top, and I recognised that it seemed to be ranging, so I put my stop above the safest place I can see was there. So it was here, and I gave it one about 2 extra ticks, I think. Let me have a look. So let's zoom in a minute. So it would have been there. So I gave it, yeah, 2 extra ticks. And it saved me neck, to be fair. So that one I got 25 anyway, so I got 2.25 points there, and that I got out for break even, luckily, but look at it come down. See, leg down, a few attempts to go higher. I think the reason it came back up and had another go was because it was ranging, but I risked an extra 2 ticks, but by doing that, I didn't end up losing anything. Otherwise, I'd have lost about $450. That was a bit more of a risk. The ATRs climbed up to nearly 2.5, and that was a big bar. That was. So a tick below there and a tick above it. That was like $425. That's a lot, that is. And I didn't really want to lose that, to be fair. And I could see what was happening, so I just gave it an extra couple of ticks, and I got lucky. You know, sometimes you do get lucky. I'm going to look at it now, look at that other leg. And what I will say is, looking at the 1500 tick chart, like somebody mentioned earlier, there was a lower high there. Trouble is you're going into the bottoms, but you can clearly see it's a range there. So, but yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? That one was okay. That one did the trick. That gave me 2.25 points, and then when I saw that appear, the lower high, I thought that was going to drop like a stone, and it triggered, came back up to the top. But I could see there was some support here, so sometimes, what do? Do you risk the extra? I managed to get out for break even. I'd have got my points if I'd have given it the extra couple of ticks in hell, but the way I see it is if I move my stop a little bit, I'm taking more of a risk, and if I do that, I think the sensible thing is to get out for break even. So at least then, you know, because pushing your luck by giving it an extra tick already, you're taking a risk. But then expecting 3 points as well, I think is tempting fate, isn't it? So let's call that a triple test. So it's a triple test. It's plus 2.25 points. So look on Mac's website, on YouTube channel, and look back at some of his early videos. Go back to Alderson. He's got videos going back to 12 years. He had way more than 1 tick on his stops, and he moved his stops occasionally as well. So strange that one of them was $25 below the other one earlier, and they're both the same now. So I don't quite get it. So, but yeah, the lower high just got out for an extra tick. My stop would have been there, and it was an extra tick, and it often does that. So it's just one of those times. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. You know, fast-moving markets, you got to make quick decisions. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. There's always a little element of luck sometimes. You know, if you take a bad trade, sometimes in a trend, sometimes the trend will help you out. Yeah, context was right, but sometimes it's just, I don't know, sometimes things work out weird, but I like the way we've gone up once, twice, and a third time. and I took a short there, and it came down the bottom fine, that. And in fact, where I left my stop originally, the lower high, it would have held as well. You're not to know that, but I risked an extra $50 and it saved me $425. So it saved me 8 times that amount. So, you know, I could see there was some support there, so I think there was a good chance it was a little bit of a range. But there you go. I actually thought that was the better of the two. But, you know, we are into a little bit of support here, so perhaps that's just why it came back. And I don't know. Sometimes things happen with trading. The trouble is with scalping, it's that fast moving. You don't always have a lot of time to think. You've got to make quick decisions. And they don't always come out right. Maybe get another big measured move. Yeah, maybe. There's always that possibility, mate. Well, basically, like we seen earlier on this, the chance of that coming down to the bottoms is pretty high. Whether it'll do it today or not, I don't know. But if we got to come down from where we are now down to the bottom, there's 50 points there just to touch that bottom from where it is now. A fraction less, maybe. Let's say from here, certainly 45 points. And I think that the chance of us getting down to there by the end of the day is pretty reasonable, I think. If we get another leg down here, so if we say 50 points, so let's, you know, trading's not an exact science, is it? But, you know, sometimes there is an element of a little bit of luck. So, how many points from where we are now? Let's put it to here. So, 30 points. So it could come down, well, lower than that, couldn't it? It's a possibility. Whether it gets right down by the end of the day or not, sometimes you get a little bit of a rally, don't we? But maybe. So maybe that's a leg down, 2 legs of correction, another leg down. But sometimes I hate losing a trade for the sake of a couple of ticks. I can't tell you how many times it saved me. But if you hear Mac talk, sometimes he'll say at least a tick. And watch some of his older videos. They're really interesting. I even seen movies stop before. Just going to give you a quick example of one. That's one of Max from 12 years ago. Look where his stop is, right below here. That's the bar he's taken. 2 legs down, bottoming pattern, he's expecting it to go up. But look where his stop is. It's not below the signal bar, it's quite a bit below. It's below there. So there's lots of his videos where he puts the stop 2 ticks, maybe a bit more. So, you know, I've heard a lot of people say, so let's have a look. It's at 56, 57. That's a point below there. So he's put it 4 ticks below there. So there's lots of his videos that do that. So it's surprising, actually, but just have a look at them. They're really interesting. He probably did that on engulfing bar. He does, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. But when the bar triggers, he moves it, though, doesn't he? So, yeah. Trouble is, I mean, if you look at that's triggered, I mean, would you put that on the engulfing bar there, which is there, isn't it? Perhaps it is there. Perhaps you would put it there. Yeah. It's hard to say, really, isn't it? Is there a time to move your stop maybe a tick or 2? Is there a time? I certainly think there's a will for it. A lot of people obviously give a lot more than a tick. But you can see there's a triple test there. So if you took that trade and your stop was above there, coming back wouldn't affect it. But I got out at the bottom, but then it came back up. So it's starting to look like a range. And often, if you've got a good position where there's a lot of traders and a lot of stops, it does give you an element of protection. The chance of it triggering above it is less if there's more traders. And that was a triple test with quite a nice bar after this pull down. And it clearly worked down, so there's clearly sellers there. So did I do the wrong thing moving that 2 ticks? It's only you can answer that, really. I risked an extra $50 and it saved me $425. So, you know, the risk to the reward. But obviously you've got to weigh up the chance of it actually happening. But you could clearly see there, when that bar finished and that one, when it started to come back, that it was looking like a range. So it's just one of those things. It helped me out today. Maybe it won't tomorrow. But I consider myself lucky, which is why I decided to get out for it break even and not push my luck a second time. So, you know, I sort of didn't tempt fate again. But yeah, in an engulfing, he'll take an engulfing, he'll wait for the bar to close, and then he'll move his stop. So it's why trading's so difficult to do, because it's not black and white. You know, you think all you've got to do is learn what a second entry is and what a failure is, and you're off and running, but it couldn't be further from the truth. That's the easy bit, learning what it looks like and to identify one, but you've got to take one which is in line with the context of the market. And that's where the real art or real skill comes in, which takes the time, you know, judging what the market's doing. You know, you could certainly wait for safer trades. You know, if we've got a really nice channel starting and we've got a failure really early on that's right below the EMA, it's a lot more of a safer, obvious trade. But, yeah, you know, it's just one of those things, isn't it? You've all got to make your own. Like that trade there, was it a great trade? I don't think it was. The way it had come down twice for me, but it was a lower high. It was clearly a lower high, and it finished on its low. So will Mac mark that? Probably, yeah. Will he mark it with a green? I'm not sure. My concern is we've had a very steep move, and we've come down and tested this line. So I'd expect a couple of legs back, and we did. But we came down enough to trigger stops, but we may not have done, which is why I just left that one. It's just, you know what I mean? I was out for a while. Good job, Lance. Oh, thanks, mate. That one was okay. I did take a lower high here, and I moved my stop an extra couple of ticks because I could see it was a range, and although it did come down, I got out for break even because, you know, it's a bit cheeky otherwise. There's a failure there, see? Second entry long trigger and a failure, but there's not much room to the lows. So if you take that failure, yeah, you've barely got a point to the lows. So it's just too risky, that. And in all fairness, it is a little bit congested. It'll probably still come down, but not only that, we all see the market ever so slightly different. You know, so what some people might jump all over that. For me, the fact that it come down again after this tight channel had a break in a new low, my concern was it's going to come back up to here. I don't even really love that channel. I think it's just 2 legs down. We've started from here. We started from the top here. We've close there, but that just looks a bit like it's falling. And then we've come back one side. I prefer to come back again. But after that and it is steep, and then a break, and then 2 push, and then a push down. For me, it just wasn't going to come any lower without getting some sort of a. But it does look like it's trying to break but it takes a long chart screen time for trader not to take the lower high after triple test closing. But then again, it takes a long chart screen time for trader not to take that lower high if it closes below the EMA. You on about that one, eh, Chad? Yeah. What do you think about that, Chad? To not take that. Would you take that or not? Yeah, that lower high. Because it's, see, we've had 2 legs down. We had 2 legs. I just don't know. You know when you just get a feeling that you can't put your finger on it. I just tend to get a feeling now that something doesn't feel right. And yeah, it came down for 2.75 points, but it didn't come down and break the lows. It pushed up for a second leg, which I thought it might do. And we sort of came down and bounced a few times. Yeah, it just didn't feel right. I took it and got out for 3 ticks because I seen the support on the left. Yeah. It's one of those things, isn't it? Sometimes things seem, see that at the time, things seem okay. Now, was this a bit, it sort of is a bit congested, but it's still readable. We had a channel down, we had a break, we had 1 attempt to go high 2. It was like 3 pushes up in a bearish bar, and I took that, got out for the bottom, which was fine. And then I noticed a big bearish bar, a leg down, triple test, lower high. I thought that was going to come down quicker. When it started to backtrack, I realised that we got a touch here, touch here, touch here, and a few along the top. I realised it was ranging, which is why I moved it above the best one I could see. I mean, if it was a 1.5, I wouldn't have done it. It happened to be a couple of extra ticks. So the original trade that I put my stop. Now, in all fairness, the second my trade got out, I jumped back in. I probably shouldn't have done that without thinking a little bit more. And like I say, I've only been trading 3 years, so, you know, I'm sort of really very much in the early parts of the intermediate. So, you know, it does take years to really understand these and master them. You know, I'd expect after 5 years of doing it, another 2 years, I would be a lot better. You know, but it does take time. I'm saying it looked like a really good trade. Hard to stay out unless you get, yeah. Yes, but we all have these slightly different ideas, don't we? And we've all got different risk tolerances. Would I have taken that on evaluation? Absolutely. I would have done a lower high. Because my risk tolerance is a lot less. You know, I don't want to blow my pay account that I've, you know, built up and put, not only, you know, paid $140 for, and I want to try and build. But, you know, what looks risky to me might not to someone else, and vice versa. Same again there. It's just too close to the lows. You know, we got all this vacant area here. If this is a channel, which it kind of looks like it, I think it's risky. We've just come out of a bit of a range there, so I'd expect to push back. And it is a second entry short. But look what's happening. It's just low and it's sideways and a bit risky. I'd want it to get back up here really before I'd be comfortable about going short. But, you know, when you've seen, the trouble is every time you stare at something and you watch it and you take a trade, when you win a trade, if it's a good enough trade, you know, you get a certain picture. When you've looked at something enough times, you start to get sort of like a bit, you know, a bit of a sixth sense, a feeling and a judgment for it, because you've got all these pictures in your head, and they do stay in your head, because when you're glued to something and you've got emotional connection, it's not something you can just forget about. You know, you can't look at someone walking past the street and remember their face. You know, if someone tells you it's a famous person, you're going to take a proper look at them. And we've got a lot of emotions invested in these setups, and you get used to knowing what looks good, what looks bad, and what looks a little bit iffy. I don't like this, something doesn't feel right, and you might have taken a trade in a very similar picture before in the past and got stung. So that's how I believe things work. You know, our brains are capable of holding millions and millions and millions of you know, tens of millions of different images, and you know, sometimes in the past I've driven through a village. I was there 7 or 8 years ago, and something feels familiar. And that gut feeling you get, and it is a lot of instinct, isn't it? Gut feeling and instinct, and seeing these charts moving. I mean, we stare in front of these charts for 4 hours every day. And I've been doing it for 3 years, and you do build up a certain amount of experience without really realising it. And a lot of experience is down to a gut feeling, isn't it? Something doesn't feel right. You know, that there's different categories of trades. Some are absolutely bloody obvious, and you can't click the button quick enough. We all know those. You get an excited feeling in there, and you're literally jamming your ordering. And then you've got others which look okay, and you've got some which kind of look okay but a bit risky. So there's lots of different categories, and the trouble is with you know, scalping, you don't have a lot of time to think. You got to think on your feet, and you know you can be liable to make a mistake and just misjudge something. You know, it happens to the best of people out there. Hmm. In fact, I am going to mark that one. No, there's no point, is there? I didn't get anything off it. It was a break even. Yeah, see, it's definitely getting a bit wicky, isn't it? And a bit sideways here. So if you want to push it down to the lows of the day, do you want to sell there, or do you want to sell at a nice, strong trend line or something, you know? It's looking a bit choppy there, so there's some mixed feelings there. So I think the safest thing to there is just to stay out of it. In fact, you could probably even drop that down there, I think. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break. All the action there is worn me out. So let's just leave things like that at the moment. In fact, I'll zoom in a bit. So, okay, quick 5-minute break. How long have we been going for now? Only an hour and 45 minutes. Quick 5-minute break and I'll be back. Okay, certainly did drop. Let me just get rid of that. So we thought there was a good chance of it with the with that bar forming there. We said it was a good chance of it coming down to the bottom here. So whether, I mean, obviously these bars came down, but you know, certain amount of a pullback, so there could be a bit of a pullback, which. But that's what we thought may happen. I didn't think it would happen as quick. So, I wonder whether this is more like this. Leg up. Yeah, that's probably. Yeah, shame about that, really. I mean, if it would have, I thought that was going to drop. You just never quite know, do you? I actually didn't think it was a bad trade. 1, 2, 3, triple test, lower high. I bet that probably a few people have got trapped there. But I always say, I've got a sticker on my screen, take a trade, look left. And I didn't really. There is a little bit of support there, and you could see it along there actually. If you drag that along there, yeah, you can see it. You can, can't you? So I didn't look left, so next time look left, and that would have kept me out of that trade. Fortunately, I realised it was in a range, gave an extra couple of ticks, and it saved me bacon, luckily. So I consider a bit of luck on my side there. So it does look like we may get down to here. There's certainly probably two legs there or close to it. Yeah, we're actually, look at that. Yeah, look at that. Wow. Let me just close that down a touch. No, let's put it there. At the bottom there, at the top there. Yeah, look. So leg and a leg. Sorry about that. Yeah, you got that as well, JV. Looks like it, doesn't it? Trouble is that looks like it's bottoming to me. Well, they did there a bit, and then the trouble is the two legs are played out. I think they had there as well, leg and a leg, and then we had a pullback, so we may get something else. I think what we might find by the end of the day, there's probably a bigger channel there, leg and a leg. Let's just kill that colour. So, touch there. Sorry. Touch. So, let me just clean this up a bit. Oh, let's have a different colour. Nah, bollocks. Let's keep the same one. Okay, so leg, two legs of correction, retest, and then a drop. So there probably is a bigger channel down there, so this is where I would expect it to get to, which is just above, let's call it 4760 for argument's sake. 4760. Doesn't say on here, does it? Because the flipping thing's in the way. There we go, 4760. It could go quite a bit more than that, in all fairness. Flip. Oh, wrong chart. So somewhere around about there. It's not far, actually, to be fair. The way that's flipping going down, it won't take long to get there. So leg down, 2 legs up, leg down. So whether we do get a bit of a pullback within that bar or not, I don't know. Probably back to here, but if we can get back to here, then I think there's a good chance of it coming down lower, maybe even quite a bit lower. So the daily is looking very bearish at the moment. It's a fair old sizey bar, that. 250 tick bar. So, touch. We'll just say that was an overshoot. Maybe, maybe not. So if I'd have held there, look, that's the trouble, is you never know, do you? If I would have held there, oh, look at that. I'd have been done for the month. Do you know what? What I will say is the NQ, we're still in this channel on the NQ. Touch. We're still in this channel at the moment on the NQ, really. I think so. So a couple of legs up. Interested to see where this starts to turn. Wow, crypto's flipping going mad at the moment. It went right up to $49,000 and it's just dropped to 46. Wow. Well, Bitcoin's having some excitement today. It was inevitable it was going to come back. It went up to just under 49,000. And now it's 46, so we've lost about 7% very quickly. Interesting. Okay, leg. There's a short there. Is that worth taking? Not sure about that at the moment. I'd like a lower high. We've got to get a quick push up from here, yeah. Well, I think the bull run has well and truly begun, I think. Leg. Yeah, I'm glad I left that one. The EMA's a bit flat. You don't know whether we're going to get a leg and a leg. That measured move's more or less played out anyway. I need a lower high really to get in there, and that's not it. I like the fact that we've had a measured leg, a leg and a leg. Yeah, we got to get a decent short, really. That's not it at the moment. Let's see if there's triggers. Okay, that's triggered. That's interesting.
Order submitted.
Too congested.
Order cancelled.
It is a lower high, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars side by side there, so doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just means it's a bit extra risky. Okay, possible failed second entry long. There is a second entry long which is triggered on the NQ. Second entry long, so interested to see what happens here, whether this comes down or not. It hasn't triggered on the yes, on the NQ it has. Also a second entry short. Second entry long triggered. This needs to come down and break below it. If it does, we'll come down here, I think. Trouble is, there's just no great setup there. It's congested there till we get down here. You can't really take that based on a Mac system, in all fairness. It's still a bit congested. You just don't know. Yeah, see, it started to come down, didn't it? And now it's trying to backtrack, we'll see. It is still a little bit congested, in all fairness, so it's probably going to come down, but the trouble is, if you get into something like this, you've got to put up with all the stress of it rather than waiting for an obvious setup. There is a lower high there, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bars back to back. That's clear. And the EMA's flat, so it's risky. Yeah, we've had 2 legs up and it's probably going to come down, but I had the same issue taking a trade up here. We had we came down at a triple test. Lower high, you'd expect it to come down, but because it's a little bit congested, it decided to come back up at a last time before it dropped, so you just don't know here. Let's see, we may have that. I have that sort of scenario. We're going to push up, come down a bit, and then off we go. Same sort of thing. Back up to here. I mean, if there is a bigger channel, this is the bottom of it, and this is nowhere near it, so you don't know whether we're going to have a... I don't know. I get a feeling for something now more than anything. I look at it and there's just either it feels right or it doesn't. If it doesn't feel right, I think I'm best just to stay out of it. Is that going to work? Yeah, it's made 2 points. But if it triggers you and pushes up, I'll kick myself because I'll know I can see 4 bars side by side there, and that just makes it risky. See, in my opinion, I can't take that, or I shouldn't take that anyway. I mean, it's still looking bearish on the NQ at the moment. We've pushed up. We've had a couple of legs up. I like the fact that big strong bull bar there's triggered and started to come down. So whether it'll work and hold or not, I don't know. It may do. Yeah, so while I got mixed feelings and I'm unsure, simple answer is stay out of it. It does look like a little channel going through there. But same again, I'm not massively convinced it's going to break. Well, it probably is, actually. We still got a real big-ass bearish bar on the daily. A real big bearish bar, 250 tick bar. I have a feeling we're going to get a break out of this little channel, which I don't think is a bad thing. same scenario as this. Not breaking the lows before we get a decent pullback. It's a bit sideways and it looks like it's bottoming there, so on the NQ it's trying to break that bar from the second entry long. If it gets below there, it'll come down and the lows will get broken here and here. It's trying to. If it gets below there, there's a second entry long. There's going to be traders trying to pick the top there. If it gets below there, which it looks like it's about to, then I think it'll have a good push. So, we're a tick away from, yeah, right through the new lows there. Okay, so, trouble is, there's no setup there really. In my opinion, you can't take that. It's 4 bars stacked side by side, just risky. The fact that it looked like it was going to come down, I think's more relevant really. So, matching low of the day, or is it? No, it's not. It's broken below it by a tick or so. So let's have a look. So we're not far for this to get this other measured leg. I don't think there's any other channel there. That NQ, that all that price action there looks like it fits in the one channel. Touch, touch, touch. Fits nice there. And there is a lower high there. There's probably going to be some longs trapped there. And I can see this breaking below here and then having another good push down. We've still got a ways to go to get this measured move. And obviously, if you look at the daily, it doesn't look any more bearish than that. Leg down, leg up, leg up. And this is mega bearish. This could come down quite a bit more before the end of the day. We've got a leg on, a leg and a leg on here. First leg, couple of legs of correction, drop down, sort of a retest. And then another leg, we're still a bit to go yet. We got about 15 or so points. We're dropping past the bottom. We made new lows again on the NQ. That's it now on the NQ. Going back a couple of days, there's no resistance or anything, so there's nothing holding it really, or going to slow it down. I think the NQ is just going to tank. Yeah, that's dropping now, I think. What's it got below here? It's much clearer than the ES. So we've got a ways to go. I can't see that being an issue. It's a really nice channel. Obviously, traders are going to be aware about that. That's a natural place to put your profits if you're coming out down here, especially what you've seen on the daily. It's just too far from the EMA, really. What's going to happen here then? Maybe, excuse me, there's a bit of a spike in the channel there. Let's take that down to there. The bottom doesn't really, is irrelevant. Yeah, I think there is, sorry, probably a spike in the channel there from the tops. No trade really. Whether it's going to come down or not, I don't know. I still expect it to get to this measured leg. We got that very bearish looking day, but there's unfortunately nothing just as yet. Excuse me. Does look like it's about to drop, but there's nothing there, no trades there. Couple of pushes up would be nice for another leg down. Looks like might be dropping out the bottom. It could just tank. I hope it doesn't. Be nice to get a couple of legs. unfortunately, there's just no entry. We knew there was a possibility. We've got a touch, and we've got this as a spike and channel. So I like how it looks. The trouble is we've come down to this side and we haven't come that far, so you don't know whether we're going to bounce here and then push up. You know, it's just getting a bit choppy and a bit messy here. I mean, you'd think it would come down, and if you look at the daily, I think there's a good chance it's going to come here, possibly even lower, but there's no guarantees. But what I will say is we've come down to this level here, and not quite as low as that, and so it could reverse here. There's always a possibility. There's just no setup really there. Can't take that one. It's just way away from the EMA. I'm kind of hoping we have a couple of legs up, or a couple of attempts to go up, and then a second leg. But I don't know, the NQ is just looking like it's going to go sideways and then just drop. So if we can get a pull out of here, even one pull. trading Monday for the holiday. What holiday is it on Monday? Nothing that I'm aware of. Another holiday already? Not that I'm aware of. 15th of January. I'm not sure what's on the 15th of January. Martin. Oh, is it really? Oh, right, okay. I usually print out the CME group's holiday schedule for the year, but I haven't printed it out yet. Half day trading more exact. Yeah. Okay. There is a second entry short there. Push down, one attempt to go high, second attempt to go high, failure. A possibility. I'm just not sure whether this is going to reverse here or not. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Maybe not. I can't think now. I don't think it does if you're on an evaluation. I think it does on a. I can't remember, to be fair. We've had that many of them. I tend to just not think about it too much now. It doesn't count. Okay, there you go. There is a second entry short there. Same on the NQ, but I'm not a fan of this. I just have a feeling we're going to get a push up. I think we usually get an email from Apex. I think so. I'm surprised I got an email from Apex today about this. Look. Last day on this. No. There we go. That's what I was concerned about. There wasn't a short there anyway, so. Are we going to reverse, or are we just going to come back up and tag this line again? Okay, so we've got a leg down. One attempt to go higher. Let's see if we get a lower high here, which will be a second attempt to go higher, and then there's certainly scope to go lower. Daily's looking beautiful. Obviously, the chance of having a second leg is down here. We're not even close. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We're about 12 points away. Whether we will or not, who knows? But I just have a feeling we may get a decent pullback here. Whether it's a complete reversal or not, I don't know. But I see the bottom here and then here, and we're coming further away, and that to me looks like it's running out of steam. I know it might continue on down, but to me it just looks like it's running out of steam for a pullback. Whether we'll come up to this level or who knows. But that channel's played out. We've had a break, 3 pushes down to a new low. Everything's played out that should have played out. Just have to leave it and see what happens now. So excuse me. spoke to, I'm not sure. I can't think, to be honest with you. I don't think it does on an evaluation, because you're usually a lot more aware of how many days you're trading with an evaluation. But when you're on a PA, you just sort of, you're not counting some. Well, I suppose you might be if you're trying to get to the 10 days, but I tend to not count so much. I just tend to get on with it. So, I mean, even if it doesn't count, you'd obviously get your money, don't you, if you're trading on the PA. Okay, this is what I was hoping for. See if we can get another one a little bit further down. So we've got a channel down. First attempt to go higher. Half days usually count on the next day. Yeah. Yeah, they do. So I think the safest bet is to say no. Okay, that's a good sign. So if we can get a lower high through here, I might be interested in going short there. Still got to be a bit careful, because that could rock it up. Well, rocket's a strong word, but I just have a feeling we're losing momentum. So, let's see if that breaks this level. I'd say there's probably going to be some people short in that. Push down. Excuse me a sec. Okay, I think that is going to go woof. Okay, early days yet, but let's put a little channel there. Okay, it does look like it might be getting ready for a bit of a pullback. Now, obviously, the daily's nice and red, but even a pullback 50% of what we've taken today will only take it up to here, and then it may drop again. So, keep an eye on that. Fat arm, I'm going to knock it on the head now. So not a bad day. A little bit of a hiccup, but I managed to get a little bit of luck on my side there, and then we took an okay to trade. So 1 loss, 2 wins, and a break even. So I should have stayed out of that. I just had this feeling of it was setting up like a penguin trade, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. And then it pushed through the EMA, and I got in on a limit order about here. It was looking bearish on the NQ as well, and it did come down. Unfortunately, we had that sort of news event, so I think it was a 2.75 risk, but I got out of it for a 2-point loss because I just didn't want to hang around because the news was coming up. It just went really slow all of a sudden. So where are we up at? Pointing to 2.5 points for the day, so that's not too bad. 2 points for a day, as far as I'm concerned, is all right for me. I'm more than happy with that. So I don't know. I'll have a look later. Be interested to see what happens. I tend to forget sometimes. 5:10 here in the UK. It's only 12 in the US, so it's still early for you guys. But I can hear. I can smell my tea cooking. So I'm getting hungry. So there you go. So it's hard to know what's going to go on there. It's getting a bit choppy. It could rocket up or it could come back down. It does seem to be finding somewhat of a bottom here. So I would expect a bit of a pullback. How far? I don't know. Whether it comes back to a certain area here and continues on. I got no idea, but I'll have a look later anyway. So I appreciate your comments. So Friday tomorrow, I'll stay the week tomorrow, and then half day on Monday. I'll see. I might come back and I'll look at the charts. I'll find out. I don't know who's trading. I mean, it's a holiday, isn't it, in the US? Oh, excuse me. I'm not sure of how big it is holiday in the US. Most of your sort of banks closed, are they? Or is that how it works? I don't know. Obviously, you guys live with these days. See, I don't. See, so it's... I can't remember what happened last year or the year before now. Well, I remember it roughly last year. I didn't think it was that close to Christmas, though. But I'm assuming that your banks are probably closed. I obviously know Martin Luther King is... But I don't know how sort of, some holidays are generally a bit bigger than the other. Yeah, federal state buildings closed. Yeah, okay. So they're probably very little institutions trading, if any. So volume will probably be low. I don't know. Some days they already. I might. What I might do is have a look at the volume an hour before I'm due to stream, and if it's okay, then. I'll come back and trade for a bit. We'll see. So anyway, failing that. So I appreciate your comments. Appreciate you hooking up with me and chit-chatting. It's nice to not have to trade on your own. It does make sense. It does make a difference having other people to trade with. It's a pretty lonely old business, isn't it, this? So if you carry on trading, best of luck. I hope you get a setup. It's been a funny day today. There's not been a huge amount around. It's weird, that one. I thought that was an absolute clonker. But there is a little bit of... You can see it along there, so I should have looked left. You can see that there, so it would make sense that there is some resistance there. Right there, so me going long there, it came down and hit that resistance level. In fact, I can move that right up. It's touching beautifully there. I shouldn't have taken that, really, to be fair. Now, the sensible thing for me was I realised we were ranging and I put it just a tick above there, so it was an extra couple of ticks. But then I got out for break even. I didn't want to push my luck any further. Sometimes it's a bit cheeky to expect points as well when you've had a little bit of luck there, but sometimes you get a bit of luck going your way and sometimes you don't. So it's not a huge amount of setups. I think that was okay. But my slight concern with that is we were down close to this level, so you just don't know whether it's going to trap the shorts and push up. It was a bit of an iffy one, that, for me. But I always like to look at how Max sees these things. But there you go. So that's it for today. I'll be back same time tomorrow, so have a great evening. Stay safe. I will speak to you tomorrow. Bye for now.